Welcome Back, Kotter, 1975 to 1979, brought laughter and heart to TV screens with its memorable characters, including the lovable Sweathogs and their teacher, Gabe Kotter. The show introduced audiences to a young, talented cast who became stars in their own right. However, as the years have passed, several beloved actors from the show have tragically passed away. From untimely illnesses to unexpected accidents, many left us far too soon. In this post, we reflect on the lives of the Welcome Back, Kotter cast members who have tragically died, honoring their contributions to television and the lasting impact they had on fans. Marsha Straman was born on April 28, 1948, and portrayed Julie Kotter, Gabe Kotter's ever-patient wife, in Welcome Back, Kotter starting in 1975 at the age of 27. Julie was the grounding force for Gabe amidst the chaos of the Sweathogs, but behind the scenes, Straman struggled with a growing tension on set. Her chemistry with co-star Gabe Kaplan, who played her husband, was fraught with issues. Kaplan, known for his prickly temperament, often clashed with Straman, creating a hostile work environment that plagued the show. While Straman was known for her professionalism, her personal life was less stable. She faced a tumultuous marriage, including a public and bitter divorce from her first husband. Marsha also had an affair with her co-star, a scandal that was hushed up to protect the show's family-friendly image. Later, Straman's career faltered, often relegated to supporting roles that she found frustrating and unfulfilling. Her struggles with cancer in her final years were both heartbreaking and a reflection of the toll her past emotional scars had on her health. Marsha Straman died on October 24, 2014, at the age of 66 from breast cancer. Deborah Lee Scott was born on April 2, 1953, and played Rosalie Hotsy Totsy, the seductive and flirtatious character, in Welcome Back, Kotter starting in 1975 at the age of 22. Scott's role as the vivacious Hotsy contrasted sharply with her personal life, which was filled with pain and instability. She was a woman who struggled to maintain control amidst a whirlwind of personal tragedies and career disappointments. Scott was notoriously private, but whispers of her difficult personal life started to surface. She had an affair with a co-star that turned into a scandal, damaging her career as much as it consumed her emotionally. Later, she lost her fiancé in the 9/11 attacks, which devastated her to the point of self-destruction. Alcoholism soon took hold, pushing her into a downward spiral. She was known for her fiery temper and volatile relationships. Despite attempts to recover, Scott's health continued to deteriorate, leading to her untimely death from cirrhosis on April 5, 2005. She was just 52, a life that ended far too soon after years of hiding her personal anguish behind the allure of Hotsy. John Sylvester White was born on October 31, 1919, and began his role as Mr. Michael Woodman, the no-nonsense vice principal, in Welcome Back, Kotter at the age of 56. Known for his stern demeanor and sarcastic remarks, White's portrayal of Mr. Woodman mirrored his off-screen personality, creating a character that was as unforgettable as it was intimidating. While White's career appeared scandal-free, he was a complex man. Off-set, he was known for his harsh temper and unpredictable behavior. He could be abrasive, alienating many of his co-stars, particularly during the filming of Kotter. His personal life was marked by multiple failed marriages, and he struggled with deep personal issues. White was also involved in several bitter contract disputes, causing him to lose roles and struggle to regain his former prominence. His addiction to alcohol grew notorious, often affecting his work ethic and health. By the time he died on September 11, 1988 at 68 from pancreatic cancer, White had faded from public view, with only a few fond memories of his brilliant performances. Ron Palillo was born on April 2, 1949, and became a household name when he played the endearing but dim-witted Arnold Orhack in Welcome Back, Kotter starting in 1975 at the age of 26. Horshack's signature laugh and eager-to-please nature made him a fan favorite, but off-screen, Palillo struggled with a darker side of fame. he was prone to deep bouts of depression, a battle that became more pronounced after the show ended. Typecasting as the lovable fool kept him from landing serious roles, and his frustration led to erratic behavior and substance abuse. Palillo's personal life was equally tumultuous. He had a string of failed relationships, and rumors of extramarital affairs plagued his marriage. He became a recluse in his later years, struggling to come to terms with his fading career. Palillo's demons seemed to only grow, and his mental health issues culminated in the heart attack that ended his life on August 14, 2012 at 63. His death was a sad, if not entirely surprising, end to a life haunted by the shadow of Orhack. Robert Hedges was born on May 7, 1951, and became famous for his role as Juan Epstein, the tough yet lovable Sweathog, in 1975 at the age of 24. Epstein was the embodiment of rebellious youth, effortlessly winning hearts with his wit and charm. But Hedges' career took a dark turn after the show ended. Typecast as the ethnic character, Hedges found himself struggling to break free from the image of Epstein, which led to a series of failed projects and bitter frustration. His personal life became a reflection of his career's struggles. Hedges was known for his heavy drinking, often resulting in volatile outbursts on set and off. His relationships were riddled with infidelity, including a marriage that ended in acrimonious divorce. As his fame faded, Hedges' health deteriorated, exacerbated by a lifestyle that left him isolated and battling chronic medical issues. The heart attack that claimed his life on January 26, 2012 at 60 was the tragic end to a life marred by unfulfilled potential and an inability to overcome his demons. Dela Rea, born on July 6, 1931, portrayed Mrs. Jean Tremaine, a guest character on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1978, at the age of 47. Known for her warm persona both on screen and in real life, Rea became a beloved figure thanks to her roles in music and television, particularly in Touched by an Angel. However, her rise to fame was fraught with scandal and personal turmoil. Before her stardom, Rea struggled to overcome a troubled childhood marked by poverty and abuse. She often spoke about the pressure of her early years in the entertainment industry, where she faced constant racial discrimination, which left her bitter and distrustful of her colleagues. In her early adulthood, Rea was rumored to have had multiple volatile relationships, including a widely publicized affair with a married music executive that tarnished her reputation. Despite her success, she never quite escaped the shadow of these rumors, which would follow her throughout her career. Rea's death from complications of diabetes on November 19, 2017, at the age of 86, seemed almost fitting for a woman who had spent her life balancing fame with the pain of personal struggles. James Cormack, born on August 3, 1924, played Uncle Harry Orshak on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1977, at the age of 53. Uncle Harry was humorous and supportive, but Cormack's off-screen life told a much darker tale. Known for his role as the show's producer, Cormack's harsh and manipulative style created a toxic work environment, earning him a reputation for exploiting his actors. Several cast members reported that he was prone to volatile outbursts, yelling at the crew for minor issues and belittling those who disagreed with him. His need for control made him difficult to work with, and rumors swirled that he had sabotaged the careers of younger actors to secure his own place in the limelight. Cormack's personal life was no less chaotic. A failed marriage, filled with accusations of cheating and emotional cruelty, left him isolated in his later years. His declining health did nothing to diminish his infamous temper. The legend of the ruthless producer who lived in the shadow of his own insecurity culminated in his death from heart failure on December 24, 1997, at the age of 73, a sobering end to a life marked by controversy. Jane Dulo, born on October 13, 1917, appeared as Nurse Bonnie in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1978 at the age of 61. Though her character was kind and efficient, Dulo's real-life story was far from pleasant. once a promising character actress, she struggled for years in a brutal industry that often overlooked her talents due to her appearance and age. Dulo's personal life was equally hard. She was married 4 times, and each union ended in disaster. Her most public scandal occurred in the early 1950s when she was accused of manipulating a fellow actress into taking the blame for a theft at a theater production, forever tainting her reputation. Her volatile temperament and rumored obsessive-compulsive behaviors further distanced her from colleagues, and she was slowly pushed into obscurity. By the time she landed her role on Kotter, Dulo had become somewhat of a recluse, avoiding press interviews and shying away from the spotlight. She passed away on May 22, 1994 from complications after surgery, at the age of 76, having spent her final years grappling with loneliness and regret over her fading career. Bridget Hanley, born on February 3, 1941, appeared as Mary Flanagan, a guest character on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1978, at the age of 37. Hanley's character was kind and understanding, much like her public persona. Yet beneath the surface, Hanley's career faced a troubling trajectory that few knew. Best remembered for her role on Here Come the Brides, Hanley's career floundered in the years after the show, leaving her to struggle with diminishing roles and faded fame. The actress battled depression for most of her life, compounded by her failed marriages and strained relationships with her children, whom she became increasingly distant from. Her personal life became an open book of scandal when her former co-stars revealed that she had been involved in a tumultuous affair with a married producer, which ended with her blacklisted in the industry. Despite the outcry, Hanley never publicly addressed the rumors, leaving many wondering about the true nature of her fall from grace. Her health deteriorated rapidly in her later years, and she passed away from complications of Alzheimer's disease on December 15, 2021, at the age of 80. Herb Edelman was born on November 5, 1933, and played Mo Epstein in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 43. Mo was the comedic, supportive character who often helped the Sweathogs, but Edelman's life was less lighthearted. A notorious chain smoker, Edelman's health issues were already apparent during his career, as he struggled with emphysema, which ultimately contributed to his death. His career was marked by highs and lows. While his talent was undeniable, he was often overshadowed by flashier personalities, leaving him frustrated and, at times, bitter about his lack of major roles. Off-screen, Edelman had turbulent relationships, including a troubled marriage to actress Nancy Dessau, which ended in a messy and very public divorce. His personal battles with addiction to cigarettes and his struggles with a lack of significant career advancement often led to periods of depression. Herb's personal demons were quietly known by his colleagues, and he continued to work in television and voice acting until his final years, when he succumbed to emphysema on July 21, 1996 at 62. Pat Morita, born on June 28, 1932, portrayed Taro Takahashi, a guest character on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976, at the age of 44. Taro, a wise yet humorous figure, reflected Morita's real-life charm and warmth. However, Morita's path was marred by deep personal demons. A former war prisoner and child of Japanese immigrants, Morita found solace in alcohol, which ravaged both his career and personal life. Despite winning acclaim as Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid, his battle with alcoholism was public. It was rumored that he frequently showed up drunk to Kotter rehearsals, with some cast members recalling his erratic behavior. His first marriage was a disaster, ending in a bitter divorce after years of infidelity and violent outbursts. His second marriage was strained by his drinking, and his struggles with addiction made him distant from his children. The once promising actor became a tragic figure, constantly battling his own personal failures and Hollywood's disapproval. After years of rehab stints, Morita died from kidney failure on November 24, 2005, at the age of 73, his legacy forever tainted by his dark battle with alcohol. Michael V. Gazo was born on April 5, 1923, and played the character Angelo Demora in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 53. His portrayal of the rough, street-smart Demora stood out due to Gazo's gritty authenticity, which reflected the actor's own turbulent life. Off-screen, Gazo's career was defined by volatility. He had a history of substance abuse that not only derailed his promising trajectory but also earned him a reputation for erratic behavior. In the late 1950s, Gazo was fired from a Broadway play due to his worsening alcoholism, and it wasn't until later in life, during the 1970s, that he sought rehabilitation. His personal life was filled with chaos, multiple failed marriages and estrangement from his children. At one point, Gazo was rumored to have had violent altercations with colleagues, including a particularly infamous backstage incident where he allegedly threatened a fellow actor. By the time he passed away on February 14, 1995 at 71, from a stroke, Gazo had achieved a second career renaissance but was remembered as much for his troubled past as for his acting legacy. Harold J. Stone was born on March 3, 1913, and portrayed the stern yet compassionate Charlie Kotter in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 63. Stone's character embodied authority, yet off-screen, he was known for his long and uneventful career as a versatile character actor. His professional life, however, didn't spare him the darker undercurrents of the industry. Early in his career, Stone was almost blacklisted after his former associations with controversial figures during the McCarthy era became known. While his roles were mostly in television, Stone's personal life was anything but calm. A notorious perfectionist, he often clashed with co-stars, and his obsession with the craft led to bouts of deep isolation. In his later years, rumors circulated about his increasing bitterness over the roles he was being offered, with Stone feeling trapped in an endless cycle of character parts. Stone never remarried after his first marriage ended in a bitter divorce. His death from natural causes on November 18, 2005 at 92 was seen as the end of an era for a man whose career and personal life had long been a series of hard-fought compromises. George Carlin was born on May 12, 1937, and played Wally the Wow Wexler in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 39. Carlin's character was a quirky and comical figure, but in real life, Carlin was anything but conventional. He rose to fame for his irreverent humor, but his career was not without controversy. Throughout his life, Carlin was arrested multiple times for his bold and anti-establishment comedy routines, including the famous 1972 arrest over his 7 Dirty Words skit. Known for pushing boundaries, Carlin's personal life mirrored his defiance, marked by a tumultuous marriage to Brenda Carlin, which ended in divorce after years of mutual substance abuse. The comedian's struggle with addiction was well documented. He spent time in rehab and later openly discussed his recovery, but his vices continued to follow him. Carlin's battles with depression and cynicism were often reflected in his comedy. Despite facing personal demons, he became a trailblazer in stand-up, and his passing from heart failure on June 22, 2008 at 71 left a void in the world of counterculture comedy. Jack Dodson was born on May 16, 1931, and portrayed Mr. Hanson in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 45. Mr. Hanson was mild-mannered and kind, but Dodson's own life was full of hidden darkness. Known for his squeaky clean public image, Dodson's private life told a different story. A marriage that appeared perfect on the outside was quietly falling apart behind closed doors. Dodson's wife, with whom he had 2 children, allegedly discovered multiple infidelities, which led to a strained and eventually broken marriage. While his professional career was solid, Dodson battled severe mental health issues that were seldom discussed publicly. He struggled with severe depression that led him to seek therapy in the 1980s. His obsession with work became unhealthy, and he was often accused of being difficult to work with on set, as he demanded high standards and was known to publicly lash out at colleagues. His heart failure on September 16, 1994 at 63 came after a slow personal unraveling, marked by his growing bitterness about both his career and personal life. Hope Summers was born on June 7, 1902, and played Ms. Riley on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976, at the age of 74. The character she portrayed, sweet and nurturing, was far removed from the woman behind the scenes. Hope Summers' life was full of unspoken bitterness. In reality, Summers was a woman of contradictions. Known for her affable presence on screen, she was privately sharp-tongued, often clashing with co-stars who didn't live up to her high standards. Her personal life, though largely a mystery to the public, was marked by solitude. She never married, but a rumored affair in the 1950s with a powerful Hollywood executive ended in scandal and heartbreak. The relationship was kept under wraps, but whispers of emotional manipulation and abandonment lingered for years. Her later years were marked by declining health and increasingly volatile mood swings, as the loneliness of her personal life took its toll. Hope Summers passed away on June 22, 1979 at 77, and while she was beloved by many, the darker corners of her personality were only known to those who worked closely with her. Ned Werdimer was born on October 27, 1923, and played the second substitute teacher on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976, at the age of 53. Known for his role as the stern and authoritarian figure, Werdimer's off-screen persona couldn't have been more different. He was quiet and reserved, but this facade concealed a hidden vulnerability. His career was solid, often characterized by roles that echoed his authoritative and somewhat gruff nature, but his personal life was not without tragedy. Behind his stoic face was a man haunted by the ghosts of past relationships and a failed marriage. Friends often described his loner tendencies, and he became increasingly isolated as years went by. He remained largely unknown to the public, a career actor who never quite achieved stardom. Although his reputation remained largely intact, he harbored a deep resentment toward the industry that never allowed him to shine as he had hoped. After a long and mostly private life, he died on January 2, 2013 at 89, leaving behind a legacy of quiet professionalism that few knew came with a lifetime of internal struggle. Richard Maul was born on January 13, 1943, and appeared as Big Thug on Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976, at the age of 33. The imposing figure he portrayed on screen, a menacing and tough character, stood in stark contrast to the real Richard Maul, who battled with deep insecurities and self-worth issues. While Maul became a beloved figure through Night Court in the 80s, his personal life was riddled with turbulence. Known for his struggles with anger management, he once famously got into a physical altercation with a director during a set dispute, resulting in a brief suspension from his career. His marriages were chaotic, with multiple divorces that often played out in the tabloids. Maul was known for his heavy drinking, which often led to erratic behavior, and there were even whispers about a history of abusive relationships. Despite these personal demons, Maul managed to remain in the limelight, but his health deteriorated rapidly in his later years, contributing to a decline in work. Maul passed away on October 26, 2023 at 80, his later years marked by isolation and the regret of a career that never fully reached its potential. Norman Alden was born on September 13, 1924, and played Detective Lieutenant Eddie Lasky in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 52. Lasky was a hard-nosed, methodical character, a role that Alden made his own through a quiet, commanding presence. Alden's career, spanning television and film, seemed unblemished on the surface, but behind the scenes, he struggled with a personal bitterness that festered over the years. While many actors of his generation saw a rise in fame from the 1970s sitcom boom, Alden remained a supporting actor, never quite breaking through to leading roles. His deep frustration over these limitations led him into a series of failed business ventures and relationships that soured his public image. His attempts at directing were panned, and by the 1980s, Alden had become a cautionary tale in Hollywood, a talented man whose career was stifled by an inability to adapt to new industry trends. Later in life, he became a recluse, rarely seen at industry events and often avoiding the spotlight. Norman Alden died on July 27, 2012, from natural causes at age 87, leaving behind a legacy marked by what could have been. Marian Collier, born August 23, 1931, played Nurse Baker in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at age 45. Her character was a steady and efficient presence, but Collier's personal life was far from stable. While she enjoyed a long career in television, she struggled to find work in the late 1970s and 1980s as her looks began to fade and her acting abilities were no longer in demand. Her frustration with the entertainment industry led her into an affair with a married producer, which was later exposed in the tabloids and ruined her career for a time. Collier's second marriage ended in an ugly public divorce, with accusations of cheating and emotional abuse on both sides. Her children, who grew up in the shadow of her fame, became estranged from her, citing her emotional neglect and constant pursuit of her own ambition. Her later years were marked by poverty and isolation, as she became dependent on the charity of former colleagues and friends. Despite efforts to make a comeback, Collier was never able to regain the success she once had. Marian Collier died on September 3, 2021, from natural causes, at the age of 90. Dena Dietrich, born December 4, 1928, played the glamorous Ilona Garland in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at the age of 48. Her character was sophisticated, alluring, and mysterious, qualities Dietrich was able to embody effortlessly. Yet beneath her poised public image, Dietrich was embroiled in her own personal drama. Once an up-and-coming Broadway actress, she was forced to face the brutal realities of aging in a business that prizes youth. By the 1980s, Dietrich's career had stalled, and rumors swirled about her volatile temperament. Her most famous role as Mother Nature in chiffon margarine commercials did not shield her from the darker side of her life. Infidelity plagued her marriages, and she was often linked to powerful men in the industry who promised her the roles she never quite attained. Dietrich's deep insecurities, stemming from an early life of financial instability, manifested in public outbursts and feuds with other actresses, many of whom she accused of stealing her parts. Dena Dietrich died on November 21, 2020, at 91, from natural causes. Connie Sawyer, born November 27, 1912, played Aunt Josephine in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at age 64. Aunt Josephine was sweet, caring, and a nurturing figure, but Sawyer's real life was far from a fairy tale. Known as Hollywood's oldest working actress, she spent decades navigating a brutal industry where her talent was often overshadowed by her age. Off-camera, Sawyer was notorious for her difficult personality, known to alienate colleagues with her biting comments and demands for special treatment. Her first marriage to a director ended after a scandalous affair with a younger actor, a situation that turned the press against her. Later in life, Sawyer found solace in alcohol, which led to numerous public meltdowns. She developed a notorious reputation for being too difficult to handle on set, often leading to her being cast in minor roles. Her family life was strained as well, with estranged children who publicly criticized her as neglectful and emotionally distant. Connie Sawyer died on January 21, 2018, at 105 from natural causes. Henry Beckman, born November 26, 1921, played the wise and fatherly Samson Malone in Welcome Back, Kotter in 1976 at age 55. While his character's calm demeanor was a source of comfort to the students in the show, Beckman's off-screen life was riddled with turmoil. His career in both American and Canadian television seemed to stall in the 1970s, and he was slowly pushed into playing roles that did not suit his talents. Beckman's failure to secure meaningful roles was attributed to his refusal to play by Hollywood's unspoken rules. He was known for challenging directors and often going off script. This earned him a reputation as a difficult actor despite his significant skill. Behind closed doors, Beckman struggled with severe alcohol addiction, a battle that severely impacted his personal relationships. His 2 marriages ended in bitter divorces, with accusations of emotional abuse and neglect from both ex-wives. Beckman was reportedly difficult to work with on set, and he often clashed with younger, more successful actors. Henry Beckman died on June 17, 2008, from heart failure at age 86. Who's your favorite character in Welcome Back, Kotter? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.